2016 has come to a close, ladies and gentlemen, and to celebrate, I will be releasing 2 videos talking about my top 10 animes and games of this year. Now keep in mind, this is my list and I have not seen every anime released, but I would like to give honorable mentions to Erased, RE0, and Joker Game. They are great animes, but I haven't been far into each one. But without further ado, here we are, Pitt's top 10 animes of 2016. Now, keep in mind this is not a ranked list, as I will just be mentioning 10 animes that I really enjoyed this year, except for the last one, as I feel it is my top choice for this year. So, let us begin. For number 10, I chose Oshiete Garuko-chan, or Please Tell Me Galco-chan. Now, I first saw this on one of Gaijin Goompa's videos on fandoms, and I got curious, and while the show does have a lot of feminine conversations, and of course the potential of fan service and, typical anime tropes, the characters are all likable in their own ways. They look the part of a stereotype, but they don't act it out as the way they appear, which has been a problem in some animes recently, especially the main character, Garuko. Garuko has the basic Gyaru look, so you kind of expected her to be this bitchy type of character, but she turns out to be a nerdy, very self-conscious character. So that's one of the reasons I really enjoyed the show. Even though each episode is around only 7 minutes long, its humor and characters is what really stood out to me the most. Number 9, I chose Tanaka-kun is Always Listless. Now, it's really hard to explain why I love this show, but I think it's the subtle humor and the interactions amongst the characters is what I really enjoy. Much like my previous entry, which was Garuko-chan, I think it's the heartwarming vibe that basically kind of makes me feel like that I'm back in high school. But basically, what's really great about this show is that it's a prime example of life as a high schooler and understanding the benefits of friendship around you to truly appreciate life. It's funny, it's cute, it's adorable, and you really shouldn't miss out on it. This next one was a bit of a surprise to me, but for number 8, I chose New Game. Now, when I first saw this, I basically thought this was just going to be a fanservice anime with cute girls, panty shots, big boobs, and whatnot, and it does have that. But very little, which was surprising as it wasn't the main focus of the show, because what it does focus is the lifestyle of working within the gaming industry as an artist and also interacting with your colorful coworkers around you. And this show gets more credit from me as the main characters are all artists, and you guys all know how much I love to draw. And I will say, it's funny, cute, adorable, but again, it kind of gives you an idea of what it's like to work in the gaming industry, especially if you play their games and if you wanted to work for them for quite some time. If you were turned off by the show for some reason, check it out and you might be surprised too. Now, this next one might be a bit of a cop-out, but number 7 is Brotherhood Final Fantasy 15. The game itself is for another video, but again, I was surprised with how good this anime was. It gives you more of an insight of how Noctis met each of his friends and how they grew upon each other, not only as friends, but basically as blood brothers, always there for each other, always making sure that each of them are safe, and also making sure that Noctis reaches his goal as becoming king. The animation's great, the action scenes are freaking awesome, especially the last episode. Music's great, and most of all, it made me even more hyped to play the game at long last. Number 6 is probably the funniest anime I've seen this year, and that's Sakamoto desu ka? The character of Sakamoto is just the smoothest bastard you can think of, and any scenario, no matter how dangerous or absurd, just adds more to his cool factor, and that's what's really cool about the show. And I don't know what to say, I loved every episode, except for episode 13 for personal reasons, but Sakamoto desu ka kept me rewatching it again and again. Okay, this might seem a bit weird or unfair for this list, but number 5, I chose Shelter. Yes, I know it's a music video, I know it's only like 6 minutes long, but I just can't deny how awesome the animation and the music was, and also how everything just tells an extremely sad story of loneliness, fond memories, and joy. I cried when I first saw this, and personally, I think Porter Robinson and Madison did a fantastic job overall, and I would love to see any future projects from them, as this has a lot of potential of telling stories without even using words. Well, some words. Number 4 goes to Blades of Glory, or Yuri on Ice. Yeah, despite the title. Seriously, that's what I thought about when I first saw this, as I think Blades of Glory, in my opinion, is a pretty underrated comedy flick. Yuri on Ice has some of the most beautiful animation I have seen, and when it comes down to the skating scenes, everyone is so likable in their own way. I love the way they portrayed Yuri and Victor, and basically just kinda showed more about their relationship with one another. Yes, both. You kind of get the picture. But basically, I praise this anime because I love the simplicity of the story, but I also love the animation as well. And the music is pretty kick-ass in the show as well. And it has gained an immediate cult following, and while I don't praise it that highly, I still think the show kicks ass. Also, men-on-men action. Mob Psycho 100 is fucking awesome, and this is what I picked for number 3. Now, I know a lot of people heard about this show and they were automatically hyped for it because of One Punch Man, but to me, I love the show for my own personal reasons. The action scenes are great, the animation is splendid, the art style, very recognizable, music is great, and of course, the characters themselves, and Mob just proves himself to be an immediate badass with his amazing psychic powers, and he's basically just an average Joe looking character who doesn't really look like a badass or have a badass personality. He just happens to have badass powers. Mob Psycho 100 deserves the praise it got, as I never got bored, not once from each episode, as it was just a perfect blend of exposition and action. Definitely check it out. Number 2 was a very heartwarming pick for me, as I really enjoyed Poco's Udon World. Now, it's basically the story of Sota returning back to his hometown away from Tokyo and reliving his fond memories and reconnecting and building relationships with new and past friends through Poco, a boy with tanuki powers Sota found in his father's udon store when it was brought down. Now, the relationship between these two is one of the most believable and one of the most adorable relationships I've ever seen between two characters. In fact, it's almost to the point where you actually believe that they are father and son. Now, I really don't want to spoil too much, so I just want to say watch it for yourself and let me know what you think. Overall, I'm just going to end, it's a great show. Maybe a little confusing, but I can guarantee you that the final episode is going to bring together everything, trust me. Alright, now number 1 to me is the best anime that I have seen this year, and that is Sweetness and Lightning. Much like Poco's Udon World, it's all about building relationships, but with the power of cooking. The emotions from the show felt so real, as each character has a realistic personality to them, especially the relationship between father and daughter through the power of cooking. I know I've already said that. It's a very humorous show as well, but there's a lot of heart-wrenching scenes that literally just felt so real that it actually made me want to cry. And everything was splendid about this show. The animation, the characters, everyone is so likable. I have never found one dull moment from this show, and that's why the maturity of the show is what made me pick Sweetness and Lightning as my top anime of 2016. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I'm really glad to see that 2016 has come to an end, and I'm looking forward to what kind of animes that we're going to be expecting for 2017. Again, if your anime doesn't appear in this list, I do apologize. I probably haven't seen it, or I probably didn't enjoy it as much, but please let me know what your favorite anime of 2016 is. And with that said, guys, stay tuned for my next video of my top video games of 2016. Hopefully 2017 will be a lot better.